What's up, everybody? Little Big Robots. Another video today, obviously. Please subscribe. Getting to 4,000 soon, something like that. I'm at 3,500, 3,600, something like that. So please subscribe. It's just fun to see the number go up. But today I'm looking at a kit from the Good Smile Company. Good Smile Company, I believe, makes Ninja Droids, whatever they're called. Interesting kits. I've only built, I think, one maybe. And Obsolete, if you want to watch it, I'll put a link in the description. But it's an anime. It's a free anime on YouTube. It's animated 3D, kind of computery, graphically, or whatever you call it. But it's basically based around the idea that these exosuit things like aliens come down and give us these like exosuit frames that in their barest form look roughly something like this. Inside is like a blue liquid, and they can take a lot of damage. It's hard to explain. It's just an interesting take on mecha stuff. It's much more realistic. I mean, the technology is obviously very fantastical and stuff. But the way they use and the way that humanity responds to these is really, really interesting. Humans, I'll give you an idea on the size, because you get all these extra little bits and parts here, and you get 3 human characters, which I think is really cool. You get, I believe, no, you get 4 actually. You get 2 little ladies and 2 little dudes. So this gives you an idea of the size. So a person sits, they figured out how to... They would stand on them at first, and then they realized they could sit in them like this. The legs normally go down. Get them situated better. And all you have to do in order to interface with it or whatever is you basically hold on to that little bar. So you see that little bar there? You physically just grab it with your 2 hands, like a steering wheel almost, and it interfaces with your brain, and you kind of control the thing. It becomes kind of an extension of your body. So you kind of become like the brain, and this is kind of like your body. It's a really fun little way to kind of get around the how do they control it thing, but also really kind of realistic in the way that they just have to weld on and mount these bits on here. So with this technology, they make ones that go into the sea, ones that are like heavy weapons bots, ones that ski. They have a ski one, which is really interesting. It's mounted on skis for like snow scouting and stuff in the mountains and everything. I can't remember what the wheel parts do here. You'll have to remind me in the comments. I need to rewatch it. I think there's 12 episodes, and like I said, they're all free. And it's a really fun kind of look at mecha content and culture, and it reminds me a bit of Black Mirror in the way that they have several different episodes. In these particular ones here, this particular design, you can see how they basically weld on armor around it. This particular design comes from an episode where they're using kids essentially as like guerrilla fighters. Let's see if I can get a good shot of that here. Let me zoom in. That usually does it. So you can see how they're mounted in there, and then the armor is kind of basically strapped around them. So some of them are more practical than others. Some of them are heavier than others. The suits can carry a lot of weight. There's a fun fighting scene where they're fighting two together, like training, and it's showing how they're very agile and stuff like that. But I can give you a look inside here. This is one of the child soldier type weapons here, where it's if you remember back in World War II, as I believe, they would have these kind of grenade things that they could slam into the side of a tank, and it would actually pierce the tank and stuff. There's a great scene in Fury, the movie about the Sherman tank, that a kid runs up with one of these type of devices, and the guy he hesitates to shoot and everything. But anyway, so they're a smaller kit. They're 1/35th scale. There's a lot of different kinds. I got this on a USA Gundam store because USA Gundam store, as usual, is always having a sale on just random stuff. And these have been on sale for a while. Where's my razor? So I went ahead and grabbed some just because I was like, I'll grab some. I wonder how they build. And they build pretty well. They're pretty nice, snapped together. There is a little glue required for some of the little bits and bobs. Let's see if I can get this open again. How do I get this open? So there's a little glue required, but not bad. And they're pretty detailed. So you got the armor. You've got a little eyeball, that's where how they kind of see out. So a lot of them they have like a little screen in there that they can kind of see their surroundings with. But in this one, there's like child soldiers, like they're really cheap. One of the concepts of the anime is that these mech are so common. There's so many of them. I think the aliens left so many or gave us so many or something like that, that people use them for everything. Use them for gardening or farming, I should say, like military stuff, spying. It's a really interesting take on mecha stuff. Like this part here is glued in place. This little bar to keep it nice and taut, because these parts attached to it on the side here. I don't want to pull too hard because I don't want to break. Oh, there we go. So you can see how they're mounted in there. So she's an interesting one. In her episode that these set suits are based on, her and like her brother or something are like little child soldiers, and I won't spoil the story at all, but it's a really interesting, it's really interesting how they're driving around. So you can see basically the outline of the alien is like this, of the suit. So minus the human and minus the mounting hardware. If we can take that off real quick. Let me take that off. I can't remember how that goes. But anyway, that's basically the suit. It might have a little more bulk in its like native form, quote unquote. But it, like I said, it has this bluish kind of blood liquid, like oil almost, and there's a secret there for how they run and why they are able to take a lot of damage and still move. It's a very interesting little fun take on mecha. Just go watch it. Like I said, pop an episode on while you're building a kit or something like that, and it's really fun. So in this one, they're taking these child soldiers, they're strapping them into these little vehicles, these ones, and they're doing kind of like hit and run warfare. No, in this one actually, it's kind of like a trafficking thing. They basically give the kids a bunch of these suits. I can't remember, and they're essentially running. They're moving from the South into LA, I believe. It's not real far distant future. And so they use this for like trafficking, smuggling, getting people over the border, stuff like that. But it's not like the usual kind of political stuff, environments surrounding that. It's a bit different because it's the future and stuff. They're pretty posable. You do have some flexibility here, but not a ton. One thing I noticed that I didn't really dig that much is that these little bits here, these roundish bits, you put them together, they're two separate parts. You've really got to work with them to get them together. I was having to use a pliers, like a needle nose, and you can see probably on some of them where I damaged the little nub there by trying to squeeze them together. But I'm finding that if you take it like that and you just wiggle it back and forth while pressing, they usually go together a lot better. It's a pretty stout little kit, I think. I don't see too many of the joints getting too weak too fast. Oh, I almost broke it. Whew. So you can see how easily that comes off. It's supposed to. So it's just a simple, So there's in other words, this is going to be really easy to take apart to get down to a base form like this. If you were to just take that and paint silver paint over it, just get some nice silver paint, paint it over it, and then take a brown or black wash and put it over it, you'd have a nice gunmetal looking little bot. So really, it's kind of hard to describe. You need to go watch the anime. It's a fun set of series. Like I said, it reminds me a bit of Black Mirror, but instead of like the internet as the technology that Black Mirror is talking about, it's these suits and how they use them for military and for spying and all this different stuff. It's kind of all based on around that. And in the last episode of the 12, I think it's episode 12 or 13, has a really fun take on all this. It's a bit sarcastic. It's a bit poking light at the mecha genre in general. So it's really worth a look. It's really, really fun. Somebody in my comments said that they thought they were going to do a season 2, but they were. It was a very expensive show to make. So keep that in mind. But there's a lot of fun to be had here. I'm surprised at the build. It's not too small to deal with. There are some little small parts that you've got to be careful about cutting out, like the hand. You got to really keep a grip on stuff. That's why you get your nice plier or tweezers that I'm always harping about. and then you're left over with quite a few little extra bits that you can really do some customization on. If you have other 1/35 scale stuff too, you have all these extra pilots. Like I said, you get 4 of them. You get 1, 2, there's one there, another female, and then 4. So you get 4 in total, which is really cool. So anyway, go check them out. I got mine on USA Gundam Store. Check out their sale area. Just fill up your cart with some fun stuff. Not bad. I'm going to probably try some of the other more bulky, more militaristic ones as well, because these were a lot of fun to build. Have a good day, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.